So, firstly, what is the purpose of CV? Where does it stand? So, actually, the final goal for all of us is just to land job, right? But purpose of CV, it's kind of a first impression for setting that goal. So it's actually just a tool to make it to the interview. It's not like necessary that a good CV will always get you a job, but it's actually really important for the first impression you will put on your recruiter. So now let's see the preparation for that. So what you all need to know before writing your CV. So firstly, before writing any CV, you should know these two things. You should know which job you are targeting and yourself. Without not knowing these two things, you can't do anything. So firstly, just know what is the JD relevance, like if that is the job listed is for you or not. Identify your skills and your strength. You will know like what you are interested in, what is your passion. Based on that, if that job is for you, then only proceed with that, or else maybe look for your interests. Then look for what are the key competencies. For example, what company is looking for, if they are like what is the value company looking for, if it's looking for some leadership role, or if it's looking for maybe technical expertise, what kind of expertise they are looking for, and ensure that they are aligning with what you have in your passion. Then the final goal is you just need to make it easy to get shortlisted for that job. And how will you do it? You will just do it by the keyword optimizations, so that the recruiters will know in shortest possible time that okay, he's the right fellow for to be given the opportunity for interview. So that is the first and foremost step. Now let's move to the standout thing. How can you stand out? So this is very like narrowed down to the tech level. So we have mainly two techs, big tech and small tech. So small techs are basically startups for us, and what they basically focus more. So big techs, they will focus more on core coding skills, your coding profiles, your CGPA, and referrals, of course. But startups, they'll basically focus on your individual projects. If you have made some open source contributions, if you have the relevant tech stack which the startup is building product upon, and do you have ability to wear multiple hats or not. Because startups don't have actually enough time to get you trained. In case of big techs, they have enough time and resources to train you. So what they need to know is they just need to know the basic foundation. If you have it, then you are good to go. But for startup, you have to just start contributing as soon as possible. So they will look at the ability of you to directly contribute to their own code base. So that is how you can stand out. So based on your focus, you can just like narrow down your CV based on this. Now let's look at what are the key components. So this is a like most common structure. If you like, this is the structure which is used by almost everywhere. And so first it's a professional summary, then education, work experience, your college projects, then skills and achievements or PORs. Also, if you have publication, that is a plus if you are looking for research oriented. And now let's look at the importance of various section. So for the professional summary, try to align it with JD. So usually recruiters don't have much time to look at your resume. They'll just have 5 to 10 seconds. They will scan through your CV quickly and they'll just like reject or accept in just that 10 seconds. So you need to make sure that your professional summary is very much aligned to your job description. So just keep it concise. Regarding your education, so the most important factor is just CGPA, because everyone has the same college here as in like in a view of on-campus drive. So write CGPA if it's good, or else you just focus on the relevant skills regarding the job posting. And if someone is opting for the non-core job, for example, if someone is from mechanical or civil and if he's targeting a coding job, then it's very useful to mention the courses you might have taken for the CS related activities. For example, you can mention your like maths or statistics course. You can mention any MOOCs you have done, Coursera or anything. That is a plus. Now for the achievements and POR, so this is actually very job specific. So if you are for tech job, basically coding, context rank, they are very much useful in this. For consulting jobs, it's better if you can just show your leadership skills. And for research, of course, publications. And If you don't have any POR, you can just show your JE or Olympiad ranks. Now for the skill section, which is very important. So try to categorize it. Don't clutter it in single line. So in the categories, you can have, these are the sample categories. So you can write your programming languages, whichever you are proficient in, then frameworks, maybe any stack you might have used in your projects, then databases that you might have known, any SQL, non-SQL, graph, any data, and then tools or software development kits that you might have used during your project hosting or anywhere. And soft skills are actually for tech, you don't really need, but you can just write it if you want, or else it's really optional. And also, while writing the skill, this is the most important thing, that you should not write anything just because you know very little of it. Like just because you know print hello world doesn't mean you are proficient in Python. So just make sure of that. And interviewers, like if interviewer is good enough, they will actually know what you are good at and what you are not. So like you might make it to the interview, but beyond that there will be a difficulties for you. So just make sure that you keep it concise and like to the point for your skill set. Now for the work experience and project details. Now this is the part, mostly this is the heart of your CV. Everyone will just look at this. Now in this case, there are like, just I have just categorized into two main parts, like must do's and may do's. For the must do, these are the like recommended practices which I also didn't know before, and I got to know after the experiences. And there is this thing. First is avoid mentioning all internships and projects. So if you are looking for some job and it has no relation with the project, just don't mention it. Then there is a tech stack. So it's very important before writing any job description for your experience, you can just mention the tech stack that you have worked on. It is very like useful for the recruiters to narrow down what you have written inside the content. It saves the time for reading. So if someone is looking for only Flutter based job, they won't read the content for anything related to machine learning, right? They just need web dev. So that's there. Then optimize the keywords. So you can try to optimize all the keywords that you might have used from your tech stack. For example, if you have made any chatbot, you can just write LLM, RAG, any other keywords that users might know, like recruiters might know. So just try to optimize the keywords to maximize your chances of shortlisting. Then if you are writing for the group project, please mention your individual contributions. So you can't just write that this is a whole system and it is built by me. You have to mention what exactly you did and what was your impact in the overall project. That is very important. And these are like some small mistakes which people do, like avoid using the pronouns like I did this, we did this, they did that. Just don't use that. It's not really recommended in the industry level. Then avoid too much information. Don't ever over exaggerate your contribution or your description. Keep it short and to the point. And for the description writing, you can use this pattern to write. You can choose the action verb based on the company requirement. For example, if the company is looking for any leadership position, you can just write something, led team of something something to build something something. If a company is like a tech something tech related, you can just write that developed web application to something to aid something, and based on that you can just write. Now there are may do's, so which it's good if you do, and it's not really necessary. So you can follow the methodologies like star or car to write the description. Now what is star? Star is basically, first try to explain the situation, then like what is the like purpose of your project, then what was your responsibility, which action did you take to achieve it, and what was your impact on the project. So this is a good format to write your description, and it also gives you a kind of sense that what actually you are doing in your project. Then provide links if possible, so this also like saves time and it like gives the genuinity to your work. Then maintain transparency. So do, like in this age, like we have LLMs now, you can just come up with any project in a night, not even in a night, you can just come up with a project in just 2 3 prompts. But just try to keep it transparent. Like interviewers are good enough to know that you might have like if you actually did the work or if you are lying. So fake it till you make it may or may not work. So just be very careful with that. So, and if you are doing that, just make sure that like you know all the nitty gritty details of whatever you are writing. So that's there. And car is also same as star. It's basically just challenge, action, and result. So this is also one format where you can like describe your project and work experiences. So this is the main aspect. Now let's move on the second topic, which is the versioning of your CV for different roles. So usually one size doesn't fit all. So if you're targeting so many jobs, you can't use single CV for it. So how you can version it for different roles? First, just try a core CV, like make a core CV with all your experiences. And for each job description, based on the job description, you can try to tweak it. For example, you can just have these four are like currently at your level, you can just have these four kind of versions. If you are targeting for any AIML, this is again, this is very specific to computer science related stuff. If you are in mech or civil, I'm really not an expert in that area. So based on that, you can have your version. Now, for AIML, you can just try to mention anything like you might have done any vision project, NLP project, if you have done any Kaggle contribution, if you have done any data modeling thing, so you can just keep that and you can avoid any unnecessary details in that. So it makes it very easy for the recruiters to narrow down your expertise in ML. And for web dev, you can basically try to mention any front end, back end development you might have done. If you have been part of any team that have made something, you can basically list down that project. And regarding consulting, you can try to mention your leadership in your project. Even if you have done any tech project, if there is any leadership involved, if there is any teamwork responsibilities involved, you can try to focus on that while writing it. So that is there. And for the research, you can try to like describe it on a research level thing. Like if you can write it every possible metric that you did this, research this, like you can go in the depth of your description, which might be very topic specific. So, for example, if you are doing anything in the say computer vision, you can write that using this library, I did this kind of image manipulation, and using this image manipulation, I got this results. It's just a sample, but yeah, you can try to version it based on that. And if you have the research publication, that is a really plus for research shortlisting. Now let's look at this was until now we just talked about the separate sections. Now let's talk about the overall CV like impression. What is a good CV and what is a bad CV? So everyone usually just prefer the single page, preferably since you are fresher. Just keep it single page. Don't go for too many information and like don't make it 2 3 page or overly long. And these are like the basic things, but still I have seen people doing mistakes, like don't make typos and repetitive words. Like it's kind of a really bad turn off for the recruiters. They'll if they see it, they'll just reject you. Then again, don't make it too colorful and don't use too many fonts. Keep it simple, concise, and like for example here you can see this is a very simple format. This is very like 2 column format is actually not really recommended. And also just try not to show so many personal details. Recruiters and all, they don't want to see your photo here, so you can just avoid those details. They don't want to know your birth dates, they don't want to know anything else which is not related to the job. So avoid minimal like avoid too many personal information addition. Then also use action verbs which I showed for writing based on your job target, which is a like for development you can use developed, for consulting you can use maybe led or anything. And unnecessary blank space is try to reduce. Like don't keep your CV very short. Like for example, if you are just writing very short description of your project, that is also not good. At least try to make it little bit descriptive. And it's kind of a trade-off of making it too long and too short, so just keep it perfectly sized. Then for the next, now what is the best CV template? So actually there are so many CV templates that you will find, but these are two formats which are like widely accepted in the industries. Like these are the formats which actually are recommended to me by some co-founders of some companies. So you can have a look at them and you can have your own resume using these formats. And like always, like prefer the single page and one column resume for fresher roles. Maybe of course when you go for experience level role, you can keep it to 2 pages also, it's okay. And there is this thing, like keep the format to be ATS friendly. Now ATS is actually not really an issue for an on-campus drive, because on-campus they'll just shortlist your resume based on CGPA or branch. But if you are applying through maybe off-campus drive, it will be really useful if your CV is ATS friendly. So just make sure that you make it to ATS. And if you use too complex layout, it's like many times it basically is miscaptured by ATS. So just make sure it's good enough. And for these formats, these all formats are ATS friendly, so you can use them. And I've also seen people using just Word to create the resumes. Please don't do that. Prefer like just write it with LaTeX in overleaf. That is a good practice to have if you want to increase your chances. And yeah, that is for the best CV template. And also there are many websites which offers like really nice great free templates. You can have a look and you can use them. Now for the cold mailing, now we are moving from the on-campus to off-campus thing. So cold mailing, it's very crucial for landing interviews in this kind of case, like when the companies are not coming to the institute during the recession. In that case, you can try to reach out the people from your end. How do you do it? So you can use LinkedIn is the most common for reaching out to the people, and try sending the invitation with brief note. Don't just send invitation. There is an option to add a note to the invitation. Just try to write any short invitation note to the recruiter or to the person where you are targeting job in. And referral request like okay, is concise, polite, and just mention why are you a good fit for whatever role you are applying to. Just mention your expertise. And in case you are requesting via email, keep a common format which you will use, because in email you might have to email a lot of people and you can't just have like same text every time. Just have a same format and try to personalize it every time based on the person you are contacting. And in email, always include the tailored CV with your cold mail, because in LinkedIn people can just see your profile and they can get an idea of what you are doing, but in email they won't have any idea. So you can try to mention your CV. And cold mailing and networking, it's really a number game, because people get a lot of cold mails. Like even in big techs, there will be so many people like you approaching certain people for referral or for job opportunities. So it's actually a number game. So don't be disheartened with the non-response. You might get, you might not get, you might get very late. Don't need to like, you don't need to feel bad about it, but just keep on doing. Persistence is the key in this. Now, how to write the mail? So the structure, it is actually very straightforward. So it should be personalized for each role. It's like common sense. Then keep it concise. Avoid repeating everything from your CV. If you are attaching CV, just make sure that you are not again mentioning the entire CV. And try to mention these 4 points mainly. First, give the intro, why you are a good fit, why the company, a certain company you are looking for, and the conclusion. And here I just gave you a small template. So this is actually, these are all 4 points which you mentioned. This is basically introduction, why that company, and what is your expertise, why are you good fit, then what where the vision of company and your vision is lying, and then just a small concluding note. If you are writing a email, you can try to keep it a little bit longer, like 300, 400. And if you are writing a note in LinkedIn, you can just try to keep a single sentence for each, so that it's like covered within 200 word limit of note. And yeah, that's for the cold mailing and cover letter. And now let's just go for the closing and key takeaways. So first and foremost, the most important thing is you should tailor your CV. Use metrics and results to show your impact. In the star, if you show the impact, you should at least if you are mentioning the metrics that you made this much accuracy in your project, if you did this, if you achieved this much performance enhancement as compared to the previous one, it's very useful. Then have multiple versions based on your target job. Proofread and take peer reviews. These, like, many people don't do this. Like, you should take peer reviews. If there is any mistake that you are not able to capture, the other people might capture it for you. Then keep it updated always. Like, if you are doing something new, just keep updating your CV. And don't ever underestimate the power of networking, because you never know which door might open. So just keep on trying that. And if you think that there are not enough things to write on your CV, or if you are like feeling it so daunting, just keep on building things that interest you, and it, just trust me, it will compound over time, and you will have a really nice trajectory of experiences. So that's it from my end, and now I'm actually open to questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mitul. And it's placement season here, and I'm sure it would have been really useful for a lot of people here. A lot of their questions would have been answered, and I'm sure they can contact you via LinkedIn if they have.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so guys, I think we're open for questions. Do any of y'all have any questions? Okay. Hi.
I have a question. Hi, Mitul. It's like you said that resume has to be to be conventional. But my question is if a candidate is from an artistic field such as advertising and so on, can they make their resume colorful using graphics and so on? That's my question.
Yeah, of course. In that case, so I told, right, like, this is very tech focused. In the tech, people usually prefer those normal layout, monoframe, the traditional ones. But in artistic fields, you can go for those layouts. Just make sure that if your like relevant job profile is accepting ATS, you can just get your CV score on, like, there are websites to score your CV. You can basically get your score and just make sure that your CV is good enough to pass ATS, even though it's like creative. So in that case, it's okay.
Okay, thank you so much. But I have one more question, regarding portfolio. Nowadays, people are more into Instagram, YouTube, and it's very common. Like if we are making a portfolio on Instagram, like say I am doing MSc in mathematics, so if I'm making some graph using some programming and so on regarding, math related equations and all so on, will that just bring my resume into should the attention of others, like if I take if I have a portfolio, something related to that?
Yeah, definitely. You can just try to mention your portfolio in the starting personal information of your CV. It will definitely improve your chance of hiring. Like, people usually do that. Like, whenever they have any portfolio, they just try to mention. I mean, even in the demo where I showed, like, there is a Jake's resume template, right? In the top, you can basically mention here, like, whatever portfolio you have, and in your professional summary you can explicitly mention, because those two things are something which, like, people don't usually like ignore while reading any resume. So they will definitely catch the eye, and if there is a, like, a very probable reason in the portfolio to get you a chance to interview with them, you will definitely get a chance.
Okay, Ashish has a question. It's in the chat.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but if you are going through the, like, if you are applying from cold mailing on LinkedIn, it's better if you can add in your work experience information. And if you're writing it in CV, it's not really necessary. So in CV, it's not really necessary. But if you are making a portfolio like LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, it's better if you can just add that certificate there. But it's really important, like, if you are doing some course, and for course people usually go for the certification requirement, like they do check your credential ID sometimes. But for internships, it's okay even if you don't. It's very optional. Yeah. Okay. So first, okay, if your goal is to get a job, you can just first, like you can go to LinkedIn, Indeed, any portal. You can find the company information if there are any job openings, and there also you will find a job ID for it. Just keep the like job ID with you. Then regarding that, whatever section they are hiring in, you can have a look in the team, like for whichever section, you can find the people for that section, and you can try to approach them with whatever you have. Like you can just make a personalized note for connection, and you even if you are not looking for an opportunity, and if you are just looking to connect with them, you can just send invitation, and you can just keep connecting like that for each company. And like if you think that their companies are hiring right now, even if they are not hiring, you can send the invitation. And if you think that they are hiring, you can just reach out to them that okay, I got to know about this is a job ID, I would like to connect. If there is any possibility, do let me know. Like you can just write a short and sweet note to them, and they'll mostly, like if people are kind enough, they'll just respond, because they are not getting anything out of that, but it's always like it's kind of very helpful for the person they are doing any favor to. So far as my experience, everyone usually like gives the referral or any opportunities they can, but sometimes it's really like dependent on the person's like personality also. So
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm. And also one more thing. So since I am based in Japan right now, in case of Japan, companies are not really open to public. So you might not even get information of employees and the companies working or like job opportunities. In that case, you can try to directly connect with the recruiters, and there is actually like middlemen here, so you can just try to make connections with the middleman, and whenever they are hiring, like if they have any news that okay, certain company is hiring, you can basically just get in touch with that company with help of that recruiter. That is very efficient way of getting a job, like you are having a like middleman for doing that job. So that is also one way, but I'm not really sure. That is not really common in India. In India, usually every company has their own policies and their own dedicated hiring department. So yeah.
So Sindhu has another question. She's from the civil engineering department. If she wants to apply for the IT companies, what skills does she need to have? Is her
Okay,
question.
so it's really IT companies is a really broad umbrella. So, like, what kind of role if you are interested in, just try to like narrow down your interest. If you are like looking for web development role, just make sure you have built at least like one small website or like anything small functional module from your own side, and whichever company you are applying to in web dev, it's really tech specific, so just try to use the stack which is most commonly used in the companies and most transferable. For example, if you learn any JavaScript based framework, you can pick up any other framework in JavaScript as well very easily, so you can decide that. But Python based front end frameworks, there are not even frameworks for that, so like you can basically focus on that. If not, if you're going for machine learning thing, just try to go for any like model creation. You can try creating your architecture from scratch using TensorFlow, PyTorch. You can just try to fine tune any existing model on any open source data set, and that is actually good enough for you. So you can basically try to get the like brief experience of what is happening in certain section, and then based on that, if it interests you, you can go forward and look for the jobs in that section. And yeah, what skills do you need? It's really what skills you are like, what interests you are having in that field. So you can based on that, you can decide. Cybersecurity. Okay, so that's actually not my expertise, but still, like I just have a very narrow idea about it. But in cybersecurity, you can basically, for companies, you can try to complete this ethical hacking courses if you want. Then also the game theory and any other courses if our college is offering, those skills are there. regarding finding the companies, I really don't know if there are like any like which are any good companies for the cybersecurity area. So if you have that company based on their requirements, you can basically prepare your skills. So yeah. Okay. So in my case, you are talking about my company, right? So in my case, so we just have a dedicated cybersecurity professionals. They are basically the site maintenance engineers and all the security proxy servers proxy handlers. And in our case, we are basically like a group of AI developers. We are mainly focusing on the so I my company is basically not even a tech company. It's a sales based company, and they are diving into AI right now. So they have created a new section for AI, and we are basically the researchers there, and we are building the solutions for Japanese market to fix. For example, there is a chatbot. ChatGPT came, the performance in Japanese is not really good. For example, then we will tailor it to Japanese language and sell it to the Japanese clients. So that is the kind of work that we are doing. So in that case, it's not really a case. And whenever we are like interacting with the outside world, outside our company's domain, that's where cybersecurity comes. And that is actually handled by them only. So I really don't know. Like these Japanese people, they are not hiring for the cybersecurity from outside world. So
Okay, there's Vishnu, you can go ahead.
Hi, Bhaiya. So I'm
hi.
Vishnu. I'm third year BTech student in data science. So actually, we are the first batch in data science. Actually, even though there are many opportunities now coming in data science, uh, when I actually go through all the job details, they ask for experience, like 2 3 year experience, or they ask for MTech degree in data science. So, but there are entry level jobs, but they're mostly on data analyst roles. So, but basically, I mean, I'm not much interested in this analytics role. So, but is there any other, is it possible, or is it just a hype, or is it possible that BTech students who have done, I mean, BTech in data science, do we have any advantage, or would they even consider us? Because I mean, I have never seen any. I mean, I don't know if it's just because we are new. I mean, new brands, new, So is it that case, or do they even consider? Or are they always keeping the, the level as a PhD, or you know, is that the real case? I mean, can you just give insights on that?
Yeah, so actually, there is this mentality in all the big techs in India and even in the West that the like minimum level required is masters or PhD to build the models, because the thing is the level of details they are working at this point requires that level of experience. Like, I mean, if you are able to prove that you have that certain level of expertise, that level of depth knowledge in the certain field of your data science knowledge, so you can just try to like have a talk with them. I mean, they won't say no to have a talk or like schedule a call with you. So you can try to reach out. I mean, if you just directly apply, of course you are not eligible, but you can try to make any, like there is a community of data science also, right? You can just reach out to people and you can say that, okay, this is a field where I'm having this knowledge and this is the research experience that I have in data science. These kind of roles, mostly they are looking for the research stuff. They are just building the models and they are just building up all the architectures. So in that case, they kind of prefer the PhD expertise. But if you are like pulling off any papers in your BTech only, you can just get a nice chance to enter in those kind of research work also. So it's really specific to company, and not all the companies. Like if you go for big techs, they will definitely just reject that. They have that hard criterias. But if you go for any startup, if you have good enough experience in that field, you might easily make it. So yeah, it's not really necessary. For example, in my case also, the job which I'm doing right now, if I go into some other companies, they might require like at least masters or PhD for handling that level. But if you have that depth knowledge, or if you are able to convince them that you can get the job done in the same amount of time where a master's or PhD will get it done, then you are good to go. But the thing is, applying directly without talking will not really open that door for you.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you. But actually, the path via this cold mailing or connecting with someone where we don't know them. So isn't that path very much? I have tried messaging them. They may message first time, then any other the thread that will stop somewhere abruptly. So
Mm.
isn't that a very hard part? I mean, isn't that a very hard part? No, if
Yeah.
you apply, you can just apply 100. I mean, there's not much effort required. You can just click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Then maybe 1 in 100 you will get. But
Yeah.
so
In that case, you can start showing up yourself only. Like you can try, like start building up your own community. Like if you see, like so many people are just doing kind of so many like knowledge sharing about their. For example, if someone is expert in ML, they just keep on sharing whatever trends are happening right now. Oh, okay, this model just came in breakthrough. This, and something like that. And you can basically have your own audience. And also, one more thing, if this is the case, so what people usually do is there are so many meetups and those kind of events happening, right? Where like decent level people from certain company, if it's a AI related conference or AI related talk event, there will be very much the target audience will be the one where you will be sending cold mailing content to. So you can basically just go to them and you can talk in person. They won't escape in that case, right? So you might have like you might even make really great connections in those cases. So if you think that cold mailing is not really working for you, you can try going into such events. Now again, in like being in this institute right now at our like in Palakkad, it's not really feasible to go to such events because such events will be happening mostly in metros like maybe Bangalore or Mumbai or somewhere. But if you are able to get a chance to attend them, try to attend and try to like have some connection in the community. And I think that will help, definitely help if cold mailing is not working out.
okay, thank you, Bhaiya. But one last question. I mean,
Hmm.
is there any? I mean, we haven't studied these core courses like CS core courses like OS or and we don't have them in syllabus. So is that a big disadvantage or is that even considered? Because even though we have the speed run of these all courses in a single course, we don't actually study them in depth. For example, I mean, there are many other CS fundamentals which
Hmm.
we haven't been actually taught as a separate course. So, are they, do they really matter if we are, trying for data scientist role or any other research areas in data science?
So they definitely matter. For example, if you look at the CUDA architecture, it will if you have there will be definitely some overlapping knowledge of OS with that if you're handling the hardware level stuff. So it's always better if you know that. But if you don't have that exposure yet, you can just get that exposure while fixing things. So for example, if you are like if you are at some situation in your data science project or any endeavor that okay, here I might need to know this thing, certain thing, and I'm not having that exposure, you can just learn it from your end. And of course, if you learn it in the coursework, it's definitely gonna help. But the way you will learn, like if you learn it with the hands-on challenges, it will like stay longer than the course you have learned. So I think it's better you can just deal with those things whenever you face it. It's really not a disadvantage if you are ready to learn when you are put in such situation. But if you are avoiding those situations that oh, I don't know this, I can't do that, I haven't like studied that course, then you will have a difficult time. So just be ready to learn whenever something comes like that. So that's how
Okay.
you will grow, I guess.
Thanks a lot, Bhaiya. And actually, actually you studied. I mean, you had C in your programming course, right? And did you have C? I mean, I think yeah, the previous batches had C, but we are having Python. In our, I mean, first year itself we are having Python. So actually, there is this big issue that we. I mean, for DS people, we don't have any other course using C, but CS people they have see in other courses like CS fundamentals. So I mean, especially me, I mean, I'm myself, I'm very, I haven't, even though I know how to read C, and but there is not much. There has not been any, academically there is no project which where I have to use C. So we are just sticking on to Python for everything. So we can just do that fastly, or so do we need to really spend time on C, or is that really a required thing in the future paths, or yeah.
I mean, it's always better if you know C. Okay, are you still? Your question is not complete.
No, yeah, I'm complete.
Okay, so of course, don't feel that you are at disadvantage because you haven't been exposed to C. So if you know Python, you can just pick up the template, like the syntaxes of C, and try to write the same code that you're writing in Python in C. And if you wanna just be proficient in language, you can be. But after certain time, like you will have enough programming knowledge that you can adapt to any language easily, very easily. So don't feel like that you only know this, so you can't learn this or something like that. But it's always better. Like C is kind of one of the core languages to have like tips on. So just try to have at least some knowledge of C. It's really so when you do for any CUDA programming, you might need C. So yeah, in that
Okay,
case.
thank you there.
Okay. Actually, I have a question for you. Like, did you start off as a machine learning engineer initially itself, or like where you were SD and then kind of you changed?
So actually, if I give you the trajectory of okay, my campus life, for me the thing was I just followed this strategy, go with the flow. Uh, Before, I never thought that I will be a part of machine learning era, but so I was actually having interest in web dev at first. I actually did course in web development, and I learned Django. I learned all the like Python based web frameworks for backend. Then the thing is, the roles in internship at our time, like what we do is whatever first internship we get, we just take it. We don't wait for the role that we are interested, like mostly. So in my second year only, I got the internship in like UST Global. It was basically again machine learning research role. So I just took that and I just learned machine learning there. And then after third year also, like I landed like the internship in which the same company where I'm working right now. It was also again machine learning role. So again I was being exposed to machine learning. So for me it was like I was like dumped in machine learning, and that's how I like learned it. So I mean that after that I just kept on going in this path, and now I'm just like going in the same direction. So
So this was an on-campus drive, is it? Like for internship itself, how did you land?
yeah, on campus.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically you can just follow this, like go with the flow. If the flow is like getting you somewhere, then it's good. But also try to make sure that your flow is not deviating you from like the place where you were before. So at least the dots should connect.
Okay. And also like for these companies from Japan, like they're recruiting as a pool like from all the IITs all over India. So how competitive is it? Like is it how competitive is it?
Okay, so recently it's getting so competitive because there is this wording, the whole world is firing, but Japan is hiring. So that was the thing. Like there was a recession in the whole world, but Japan was still keep on hiring, hiring, hiring. So that made it quite challenging. And like now some companies are like have made it very competitive, but you still have a chance. Like if you have good enough skills, like there are so many companies still hiring for like IITians. Like they are just so exposed toward IIT. So if you are from IIT, it's like you can just reach out to the employers, like not employers, recruiters in Japan's case. And the recruiters will be just if they are impressed, they can basically get you in touch with some companies like in Japan. So in our case also there was a company named Willings which came to our college, and they shortlisted like 4 or 5 people, and from that like two people like from my batch we got internship. So that's how it worked. Like there was a middleman who selected from IIT. There was a first level selection, then there was a second level where all the Japanese clients took interview for us, and that's how I was selected. So
So
that
like
it's kind of a competitive, yeah.
do they discriminate based on like your tire, like the first gen or the second gen, like that?
So before in our time they were not doing it, but recently I'm seeing my company being it a little bit biased. Still they are not doing it that much, but if you are like if you are able to answer everything in your interview, if you are nailing the interview, then there is no worry at all. But for the CV shortlisting or getting interview option, there is a little bit of discrimination that like they'll just be amazed, oh he's from old IIT, okay, let's see how he's doing. So, but I have only taken the interviews of old IIT people also, and I have rejected them and preferred second tier IIT people over them. So it's really in the hand of recruiters and interviewers. So you don't really worry. If you have the stuff, you will get it right.
Okay, that seems like a little bit of good news for.
Yeah. Yeah, just never like have that FOMO of like, okay, we are somewhere, like you are still in IIT, don't worry. So, yeah.
Like how important is keeping LinkedIn ID in the CV?
Okay. Actually, it's really not important to put your LinkedIn ID in your CV. Just for like recruiters might just use it to connect. Like they won't just open it and see, oh, you are so active in LinkedIn, and they won't look at it. Like LinkedIn is again your CV only. So instead of LinkedIn, you can try putting your portfolio site if you have. But it's also better you can just put it like LinkedIn is very easier for recruiters to connect you also, because they can just like in just two taps they can reach out to you. Instead of sending mail, they'll have to write your mail, and it's difficult to keep track also, right? So in you never know, so just keep it for the safe side, but it's really not necessary that you should include it, but it's okay. Okay, if nobody has any question, I actually would like to show. I had this. Okay, nobody asked it, but yeah. So the example of ideal CV that I talked in the PPT. So can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
So I was like fortunate enough to get a sample CV of one of my friends when he was in college. So he's from IIT Delhi right now, and in Japan right now. And so this is a CV that he made. So as you can see, I'll just try to like throw shade on the details which I mentioned. So it is actually, so first thing was like the personal information. So it is very concise. He has just given email and name, so that is enough. You don't have to clutter so many personal information. It is a single page normal resume, and it is really easy to read, very nicely formatted. Then